Senator Jaffer, to be followed by the Senator Forêt. Senator Jaffer, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Minister, for making yourself available, and congratulations for your appointment. I was very pleased to hear what you said about veterans, and I'm Vice Chair of Veterans, and hopefully you will come to veterans and explain more. We will make the request. I'll speak to my chair. I have two questions, one on pay equity and one on wage, and if I'll see how my time goes. But on pay equity, they requested funds of $3 million advance to sort of look at how to do proactive work on the wage gap. And I was wondering, what role would the Treasury Board play in achieving the legislative change? And I know, Minister, this is a very particular question, and certainly if you want me to wait for the officials, I can do that later. Or I just wanted to know, how are you going to monitor this money is being given?
Well, thank you for the question. It's a really important one because, as you know, yourself and many other advocates have been asking for proactive pay equity legislation for some time. My predecessor, Scott Bryson, was very actively involved in the preparation of the legislation, along with our Minister for Employment and Workforce Development, as they sought to be able to address that. We have continued to work together with, for example, with bargaining agents who are very interested in this issue and making sure that it rolls out effectively. And my officials are quite closely tied with the work that's being done in order to ensure that legislation will be implemented effectively and will do what it's supposed to do in terms of making sure that people are remunerated fairly for work of equal value.
Okay, and I'll ask further questions of them after you leave, but may I very quickly ask you, may I ask, or am I out?
Yes, please.
On wage, the women gender equality, I understand that $24.9 million was given to the department, and I was wondering how the amounts were presented and how are you going to monitor this on your interim estimates with wage?
Well, thank you again for the question. And as you know, one of the pieces that was part of the same initiative was to actually make what was previously the status of women and not a full department is now a full department called Women and Gender Equity, and that came through the Gender Budgeting Act that received royal assent last year. That will be under the purview of the full Minister for Women and Gender Equity, and there have been significant investments in that particular area to make sure that there are not only the existing programs that were from the previous status of women, but that she is continuing to lead now in a number of programs in terms of reduction of violence against women, for example. She's been involved in making sure that there's more services available for shelters for women, and this will all now fall under that new department. And we obviously will, as Treasury Board always does, make sure that each of those initiatives is examined thoroughly. We have a responsibility to make sure that the new department does have a strong results framework. That's one of the standard oversights that the Treasury Board will have as they get approvals for the expenditures within that new department to ensure that it achieves the results that they intended.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.